Hello there, and welcome back to Knights of the Nerd Republic. I am your host, Jared the Dark Jedi Bachman Stubbs, and you can find all of us here at the Nerd Academy Podcast, along with our other shows, the Nerd Academy Podcast and Campus Life, on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, as well as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Our main shows are released weekly at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time wherever you find your podcasts. And don't forget to check out our Patreon, where every donation helps to keep the lights on. And without further ado, this week on Knights of the Nerd Republic, we are joined by the Lore Keeper, Connor Chikiti.
Hello there, everyone.
Quit! You're still laughing at me. Stop it.
No, I'm not. No, that was not bad.
My inability to read. We are joined by the Sentinel, Joel Basenback.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is safe and doing well. That's all I have to say.
And we have our favorite professor and birthday boy, Levi Baum.
Oh, well, how's it going? I'm 21.
Woohoo!
Hey,
Levi can now drink the pain of Corona away.
I am 1 year closer to real life.
What was that?
I'm 1 year closer to real life.
Yes, you are.
I think that's why they allow us to drink.
They're like
21.
They're like, y'all need it now.
Yeah.
Connor, how was your week, buddy?
Pretty chill. Not too bad. Didn't really do much, didn't do anything like standout-ish, just schoolwork, Fallen Order, chatting with friends. That's about it.
You know, Connor, I say this in the most sincere way, and not as like a subtweet. Those like old corny ass shirts that like kids would wear, that's like my to-do list: wake up, video games, sleep, and like homework would be like scratched out on it in like that goofy ass way. Like, I legitimately want to get you a shirt that just says like, wake up, Fallen Order, breakfast, Fallen Order, lunch, Fallen Order, shit, Fallen Order, dinner, Fallen Order.
I would wear that with pride.
I know you would, and you deserve it.
That's funny.
It is a mark of your honor, indeed.
Thank you.
Joel, how was your week, buddy?
My week has been not bad. Not bad at all. I've been still watching Netflix. No, I'm kidding. I actually am getting things done.
Which I finished Netflix.
Right, exactly. No, yeah, I have been working on MCAT prep stuff, and I have been looking into a bunch of medical schools, and one day after another, but we're getting there.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm glad you're making the most of your time. I know you're also working hard on everything we're doing here. Birthday boy, how was your week, buddy?
Yes. My week has been interesting. So I changed my potential thesis entirely. So like for this semester, I don't need a thesis, but I do need like a prospectus, and a pretty small one at that. Like the historiography, he just wants a minimum of 5 pages. I need to do one with 10 pages last year, so this kind of simple.
Wow, okay, so your workload is halved. That's nice.
But I still have to do all of it by the 20th.
Oof.
I believe
because I changed everything.
I think you can pull this off, especially with the topic you're going with. I think you'll be able to work that.
I have already found like 5 sources of people talking about religion. So my new thesis has to do with pop culture and how we communicate ideas. And communicate ideas is quite vague, but that means like anywhere from, just a new way to tell a story. So it's like a novel in action.
Yeah.
And I'm particularly focused on TV, or it can be, like subliminal message and, getting into all that egocentrism crap.
A
So
Yeah, that's interesting stuff.
yeah,
Sexism for the win.
mhm. And yeah. Oh, and I also found my Skyrim disc, so I've been playing that. I started a new playthrough. Chose high elf this time
Interesting.
to
That's
get
fun.
that extra magicka. Trying a mage playthrough. Mages suck.
Dude, yes. I can't stand them. Like, they're so easy to kill as
Yeah.
enemies, and just I'm basically your stereotypical Nord. Like, not actually, like, sometimes a Nord, sometimes not, but like a stereotypical Nord in that I cannot stand magic users. But I'm different in that I see the benefit that it has for society, and I'm not all up in arms because of, oh, Winterhold College wasn't the College of Winterhold wasn't destroyed at the Great Collapse. They're up to those magic people are up to something. So.
Yeah. No, but I meant just like playing. The mages just are not good, especially early on because you don't have any good armor. You have just those robes which give you no armor, in fact.
Yeah. Another reason why I didn't go with them.
Yeah, so basically...
But you look fly, I'm sure.
You look fly, but you're gonna die.
I do look fly, yeah, pretty much. I have already killed 2 of my companions accidentally. So thank God nobody was around. So I didn't have to pay a bounty.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Yeah, I don't have a House Carl in Whiterun anymore because I killed her.
What?
Lydia, yeah.
Why?
That's another thing about mages. Like it's impossible to not hit your companion. Because you're about to fire a fireball, and then Lydia's like, and then she gets in the way, and then I kill her because she's on the ground panting.
That's funny as hell. Friendly fire at its finest.
Yeah, I forgot about Lydia. Actually, no, I haven't, but like I never use her as a follower. The only follower I ever use is Serana.
Correct. Yeah. And that's why I rushed Dawnguard, in fact. I'm in it right now. She is the best.
Dude, she is. Like,
yeah.
Typical backstory aside, she's really dope.
Mm-hmm. She's really powerful.
Yeah, and she actually has like decent interest in dialogue.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm not very familiar with Skyrim. I've never played much of it myself, but
Levi, the big question. Stormcloak or Imperial?
So this is my 3rd playthrough. My first playthrough, I went with the Stormcloaks because the Imperials tried to execute me.
Yeah, that's what everyone says.
Second time, I went with the Empire because like Windhelm is super duper racist.
Yeah,
and like if you can't even hold your own city together, you don't deserve to be High King. And so this playthrough, I'm actually going to complete the main quest line without joining anyone. So I get that peace treaty up in High Hrothgar, and then I'll probably just do the Stormcloaks again. Alternate back and forth.
Yeah, for me, I kind of switch between them. Like, it's not okay. Like, how I am with Fallen Order was basically how I was in high school with the Skyrim Civil War. I studied it like it was a history, like it was a history project of mine. Like, it was bad. Like, I wrote a friggin' paper in high school on why the Stormcloaks could take down the Aldmeri Dominion, and I pretty much took the stance of, if the Stormcloaks went to the Somerset Isles, even with High Rock and a few other states with them, they would still get destroyed. However, if the Aldmeri Dominion came to Skyrim, it would basically be the same vein of Napoleon invading Russia in the winter.
Really?
Yep. That's how I thought about it. So, yeah.
I would think that too many people don't like Ulfric. And when the Aldmeri come, there would be kind of like an an internal uprising. Because like the Argonians aren't allowed in the city.
Yeah.
The Dunmer get
that's-
harassed.
That's like more. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna keep it short because this is Star Wars we're on. But that was more so before Ulfric's time. But like, I get what you're saying that he sort of accentuated that problem because of the fact he's doing nothing for it.
Enabled it. Yeah.
I want to say that this is the first time in a very long time where I have heard a nerd conversation where I didn't understand a single goddamn thing that was being said.
I'm reveling in it. I
Like,
feel power.
This is like
Same.
the first time, like even with like franchises I'm not super familiar with, like Star Trek, like I can bullshit my way through a conversation and like understand most of it. I have no idea what you guys are talking about right now.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever like, huh? But yeah, my week was pretty uneventful. Same old, trying to not go crazy. Last night, with my little sister and my family, I did watch the new Trolls movie because it had its video on demand release because of everything going on. And that movie is basically Infinity War in a very strange way. It's the
I remember
same
seeing your
plot.
tweet and I'm like, oh, okay.
It's the same plot. There's this crazy evil troll who wants a rock and roll ethno state.
Hey man, I'm cool with that.
And
I can't believe rock was the bad genre. I'm like, are you kidding me?
It's okay because
crap.
It's okay because the country music people were like centaurs with like horse bottoms, which was strange on its own. But yeah, there was a rock and roll ethno state, and she had to acquire the 6 Infinity Stone. I mean the 6 strings of music, and it was really weird. And I looked at my dad and my brother, and I'm like, if at any point the evil rock and roll troll says something to the effect of "I am inevitable" or "Destiny arrives," anything like that, I'm getting a back tattoo of that troll. And that's that. Luckily, she didn't accidentally quote Thanos. But
Darn it.
There's no way this movie was not ripping off Infinity War. Like, even the colors of the strings were the same colors as the Infinity Stones.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I was in stitches. And like, there was one scene where like they broke the strings and like the strings started to turn to dust. And I was like, you gotta be shitting me. And
What came out first?
Infinity War.
Oh.
Yeah, like this movie just came out yesterday.
Troll?
The new Trolls movie, the second one.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the one that like they sent straight to home release because of COVID-19. So I'm just sitting there and I'm like, this is Infinity War, the musical, and this is hilarious. I love every second of it. But yeah, we don't really have any news for you guys today. Just our review of the latest episode of Clone Wars. So apologies for the episode being on the shorter side this week. However, we don't have much else to talk about.
Blame the sickness,
Yes,
not us.
Blame the sickness, not us.
But you can always tune into our other shows because we have plenty of material up there for you guys to listen to.
Yes, absolutely. If you're in the mood to still listen to our suave, tantalizing voices.
This morning, as we were recording this, Campus Life episode 3 is up and ready to be listened to. So go listen to Campus Life 3.
Yes, do yourself a favor. That is the most fun riff session I think we've had in a while. With that, I'm going to throw this to our birthday boy, Levi. Your thoughts on Together Again?
It was good. I liked it. I still am not a fan of Rafa. It's like, aside from that
fair.
one instance where she was like, I wish I never took this job, it was never her fault. You know, she couldn't be blamed. Either blaming Ahsoka or her little sister. So, like, she's kind of irresponsible.
Yeah, Rafa.
the whole way through.
Yeah, she
She
got
gets
on
some
my nerves.
Yeah. She gets some brownie points for like trying to save Ahsoka again. But yeah, whatever. She's not my favorite character in the world.
No, I can
Neither
agree
is
with that.
Trace, really. She was fine, but she feels like just a general companion character. Like you're doing a side quest in
Yeah,
Skyrim. And then, you complete the quest and they F off forever.
yeah. No, that's a great point. And like, even though I don't have like the specific Skyrim background, like I can think of a couple games where like I would only put up with Trace for like a grand total of an hour of doing a series of side quests, and then they're
Exactly.
no longer a part of the narrative. That's a very apt comparison, Levi.
But aside from that, I liked seeing action, right? I always like to see action in the Clone Wars. Um, Pardon me. I liked how they were, conning the Pikes, and I liked how the Pikes knew they were being conned, and they let it happen anyway because of who they were working for. And I'm so glad we got to see Maul.
Wow, that was. Oh.
Yeah, that
His
was the best part.
his calming rage, man. I missed it.
Yeah, not Maul is no longer the foaming at the mouth psychopath. He's just back to being cool, calm, and collected, and ready to murder at any moment.
Hmm.
Which, in my opinion, is Maul at his finest.
Agreed. Like the
uh,
fact that he's calm about this puts that fear into you that he could lash out at any moment, and I think that's scarier than him actually lashing out.
Yeah,
Like that
it's
fear
the
of the
suspense.
unknown.
Yeah, it's like that Hitchcock quote where like there's the bomb under the table. It's scarier when you know it's there, and you're just like waiting for the moment where the timer ticks. With the Maul thing, Levi, this is our earliest canonical reference to Crimson Dawn,
Oh,
his
that
crime
was.
syndicate that he has in Solo. Which is
Yeah.
interesting because I didn't think that he would have established Crimson Dawn until after he had completely lost Death Watch after Mandalore. And the fact that he says I like something to the effect of playing the collective against Crimson Dawn, which almost makes it sound like he is operating both the Shadow Collective and Crimson Dawn all at once, or if like he's talking about, well, you like with the Pikes that, well, you used to be a part of the Shadow Collective and you're pretty much all that's left of it. So don't act like an idiot. Otherwise, the full force of what I have right now is coming down on you. And the fact that, Maul recognizes he needs every single resource he has at his disposal. Otherwise, he is very, very out of luck. And yeah, it was cool to see him. The scene where he could feel Ahsoka during the hologram call. And he's like, hold up.
Saw her and
It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Which is
he
interesting.
remained calm.
Yeah, he didn't like, you're just a Jedi. Like, which,
That's Maul of old. This is Maul of new.
2
man.
seasons ago, Maul would have just, Jedi, I'm on my way. Like
Bloodthirst.
Yeah.
Now he realizes, don't do that.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah, he
Like do it, but
soon.
like not as aggressively.
yeah. But yeah, I agree with you, Levi. That was very accurate, and seeing Maul again was very exciting.
Yep. I feel like Ahsoka was a little too willing to join with Satine's sister.
Yeah.
Like that kind of just happened.
Yeah, and
I feel like it shouldn't have simply happened.
Yeah, I think if we had more time with this arc, and I went on a whole rant to Connor about how I think this arc could have been done much better, and I'll save my thoughts for that when we get to my actual thoughts. But I feel like there was a whole lot of time wasted with this arc, especially with the fact that the third episode was just them chasing their own tails. But yeah.
I feel like some time could have been clipped from the first 2 episodes myself.
Oh yeah, agreed.
But
sorry, I didn't cut you off.
Yeah, but let me just say now that me pointing out what I don't like about these episodes does not mean I'm ungrateful that a season 7 is out. Like, I'm seeing that logic on Twitter a lot. It's just like, shut up. I can have my own opinion, you know?
Yeah, and I feel exactly the same way as you, Levi. Yeah, I said that last week. You know, like I may not love every episode that I'm seeing, but I'm loving that Clone Wars is back. So, like, you know, the excitement is there, and I think there is a fair criticism to be had that we're not necessarily looking at stuff that feels like it is in the end game for Clone Wars. Yeah, you know, like some of these arcs are a little bit, you know, like they all feel like mid-season arcs, and I want to feel like we're heading like we're full steam ahead towards the final battle here. But yeah, I agree with you. Joel, your thoughts on this week's episode?
My thoughts are that I very much enjoyed it. First and foremost, and I will have to say the payoff of the other episodes finally came in this episode, and it was something that I was doubtful for a while there. I mean, if you listen to the other episodes of Knights of the Nerd Republic, you'll hear my takes on how the other episodes just didn't cut it for me, really, for the standard that I had for Clone Wars. But this episode, it drew me in again. It brought in the action, the interest. So I very much enjoyed it. I will have to say, as I was telling Jared earlier, Connor was there too. The part that I hated most, but also found the most entertaining, was the little minion dude kind of things.
Minions? Oh, Jesus Christ, no!
And they were literally like, killer.
I love that.
Now that you made the Minions comparison, I hope somebody takes the scene and just like dubs over with like, "Oh, banana!" Like,
right. Oh well. Anyways, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the action, and I'm kind of happy that the Mandalorians had in some form involvement here, and how they brought in the Crimson Dawn stuff once again. So yeah, those are my takes.
Yeah.
Is Ben Quadanero still alive?
I'm gonna check that right now.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because he didn't die during the race. His thing stalled out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So was he one of those workers, maybe?
Are you saying that all of the species that I do not know the name of look the same, Levi?
Tong.
What do they call?
No. Some of them are blue.
We're not being racist.
I'm not being racist. My best friend is a Rhodian. But
yeah, actually, they do look all the same. Like those midget things on Bespin.
Oh, the Ugnaughts.
And Ewoks.
There's nothing in his entry that says that he was a worker there.
Okay.
That's disappointing. Oh man, after Ben Quadraneros' disgrace during the Boon to Eve Classic, he turned to a life of drug smuggling and jug running. Working for Darth Maul.
The thing is, I could see that happening.
Oh, there's like a really depressing it. It's like in the one Aftermath book where we find out that Jar Jar became a street clown on Naboo.
Oh,
after
that
he
was
got
depressing.
ousted from the Senate.
That was absolutely.
That was funny as hell. Just the fact that that's a thing. Connor, your thoughts on this week's episode?
So, you know how I've always said that Clone Wars has just been like solid for me with every episode?
Yeah.
That changed with this.
Ooh.
And for the better. This to me was probably my favorite episode so far in the series. And
in the series or like this season?
Oh wait, not in the series. No, my favorite. Yeah, no, my favorite episode in the series is probably like the Gathering arc or the Yoda arc. Yeah, I meant to say it's my favorite episode in this season, in this current season. That would be a stretch saying it's my favorite in the
I was
current-
gonna
in-
say, how the hell did this top those younglings for you? What the hell?
Yeah, no way. But I love. There's a lot I have. I just love first of all when Rafa thinks Trace is siding with Ahsoka because Trace told her that the spice was the original problem and not the fact that she dropped off the spice and everything. And just Rafa's like, the fuck, like we're sisters. We're in this together. So like that sort of dynamic in the beginning I thought was really cool. And then I really liked how Ahsoka's plan was just basically, I got this, guys. And the fact that she really put the emphasis on trust and how Rafa picked up on it and Trace was a bit slower on the pickup of realizing, okay, she's kicking us out, but she's basically sacrificing herself. And I also love the fact that Rafa pretty much acknowledges that later on in the episode where she's just like, that's freaking rare that people do that nowadays in this time. And then like the part where Rafa and Trace go to the workers and that hilarity and that fight ensues. I just love that Rafa's basically like takes charge and just completely bullcraps her way around all of this until the Trandoshan lead worker comes to crack down on them, and then they get in that fight, which I thought was also really cool. Let's see, because I wrote pretty much down everything. Oh, I also really liked how Rafa was like more resourceful in a fight than I really gave her credit for. Like how she like dispatched the Trandoshan guy when she like hit the lever and it broke away the part thing that the Trandoshan worker was on. I was like, oh, that's pretty clever and really smart. I don't give you much credit for your resourcefulness in a fight. I also really loved seeing Maul again, and just the animation on him looks so good.
Oh my god, he looks so smooth. I'm so excited to see him in action. And I know we talked about this before, but like, especially since it looks like it's going to be the only lightsaber duel we get in the season.
But it's going to be worth it.
That and like the fact that they, at the very least, I know for the duel, they mocapped Ray Park.
Yeah.
So like that alone excites me because there's always just been this weird quality to how they move in the Clone Wars in combat, or like in a duel.
Yeah.
That is just, I've never liked, and it's really weird.
Yeah, it's like sort of janky.
Yeah, and like I couldn't describe it, but like if we were all sitting down watching an episode of Clone Wars where there's a lightsaber duel, I could point out to you, I'm like, I've never seen a person
fluid.
It's like this doesn't feel, it feels kind of clunky in some weird way. And it's less so in Rebels, but like just from like the little bits we saw of Maul in the trailers of the scene that we know is mocap from Ray Park, it looks so good the way he's moving.
Oh my god, dude, we're gonna have a time talking about Mandalore.
I know. I'm just so excited for next week. I'm just put it in my veins, please.
I really liked how, as predictable as it was to me, I really liked the way in which the Martez sisters found out how Ahsoka was a Jedi, and they were just kind of like, pretty much that whole thing of Cal and Seer, you should have told me before.
Yeah.
You should have told us before, but I'm not surprised that Ahsoka didn't really want to tell them after finding out what happened with their parents.
I wouldn't have told them.
With the Jedi.
What'd you say, Levi?
I wouldn't have told him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Probably.
Rafa's a bit of a bitch. Honestly.
Yeah,
I get that, but like that's kind of why I like her as a character.
But
then again, there's not many Star Wars characters I hate other than like Pong Krell. But I digress.
Clovis.
Fuck Clovis. Fuck Clovis.
But I love that when they escape, that Trace is like, okay, so you're a Jedi, so that means you're a good shot, right? And I'm just like, okay, way to jump to that assumption. You're correct, but way to jump there. That was just that. I just found that funny, but pretty cool that like, even though she's like probably still shocked that even though Trace is probably still shocked that Ahsoka's a Jedi, like in the heat of battle, she's like, well, in this case, she'll do us some good.
See, the bit from that scene that I like the most, not even that, but whenever Rafa's like trying to give Ahsoka like this is where the ship is about to fly to, and Ahsoka's like, I know where he's flying. I can tell.
Yeah.
I don't need a targeting computer. This is kind of a thing for Jedi.
Yeah, but I also liked like Trace's flying. I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a fun scene. Getting to see her like really.
That was a pretty dope sequence.
Show her stripes.
And then when they get back to Coruscant, and when Rafa says, "You might not think of yourself as a Jedi, but you act like one," or at least how I want them to be. That is the first time this entire season I actually teared off.
Yeah,
or at least that I can remember. Like that got me.
Oh yeah,
especially with the fact that the 3 episodes before they're just like the Jedi suck, and I'm like, rightfully so. But there's some good eggs in this basket.
Yeah, and I like that a lot. I liked seeing Rafa and Trace like come around on the Jedi. And I wish we had more time.
Very slowly.
I wish we had more time with Rafa and Trace having to question how they felt about Ahsoka and her Jedi past.
Yeah.
That's one of my big complaints about the arc is that like you could have had a lot of cool character moments that got passed up. And I think a lot of that comes down to like episode 3 just being devoid of any developments aside from this is how our parents died and why and they rightfully put the blood of their parents on the hands of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And for me, the episode, I liked it a lot. It was my favorite of the Ahsoka's Walkabout arc. I think, and this is what I was telling Connor earlier, episode 3 did not need to exist. I think that there could be a way, and again, this is my opinion, you know, I'm not a professional like the people who are working on this show. So I don't purport to be a better screenwriter than the people who get paid to do this. However, I think there could have been a way to combine the half of these episodes into each other. I think that episode 1 could have absorbed the second episode as well. I think if you cut the demolition droid shenanigans and just go straight into like, you know, Trace and Rafa are these roughnecks trying to make it on their own in Coruscant. And, you know, you have the static between Ahsoka and Rafa up top and Trace is already taking a liking to her. And then you go straight into the spice deal and go straight into that. And then the second episode, you combine it. So like all the events of the second episode are like what makes up the back half of the first episode. And you go straight into all that. And then you combine the third episode and the fourth episode and have the Ahsoka as a Jedi reveal up top, have them stewing in their cell, have them have the moments where they're like, well, I don't know if I can trust you anymore because you're this pious jackass who thinks that you're better than everybody else because, you know, something Jedi, something Force, you know, shove it. And then you have Ahsoka, you know, offer herself up to let them escape, knowing that they don't have a family, but claiming that they could hold that over them as leverage, which I thought was a great touch.
Yeah.
And, you know, having Ahsoka manifest that as like that guilt she has. And even though she's not responsible for the death of the Martez's parents, that she has some amount of guilt as a Jedi or as a former Jedi of seeing another group of people who they let down. And I think that you could have a cooler moment where if they already know she's a Jedi and then she does that, and then you leave them to stew on like, well, shit, I didn't think we could trust her because she's a Jedi, but like there's a good chance she just dies when we don't come back.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I think that there was a passed up opportunity there. And I think that if you combine half of these episodes into each other, you end up with 2 leftover episodes, and then you get into kind of like the opportunity cost where, you know, we've chosen to do 4 episodes of the Ahsoka's Walkabout stuff that you could have spent doing other stories. And I know I've said this one before, and I have my bias because I love Obi-Wan and Anakin's dynamic, but like, you could have done a 2-episode version of Obi-Wan and Anakin on Utapau with the Kyber crystals. And especially knowing that from what we've seen, the back chunk of this season is going to start merging into Revenge of the Sith. I think seeing Obi-Wan and Anakin this soon before Revenge of the Sith having the "I'm sorry if I've ever let you down and I apologize in advance for when I inevitably do," to right before Revenge of the Sith have Obi-Wan canonically have Obi-Wan tell Anakin, "You could never let me down. I'm proud of you. You could never do anything to upset me to the point where I would be ashamed of you." And then for like a month later, Anakin is wiping out the Jedi. You know, I think there's like a really tragic irony to that was in as a greater whole passed up on. But I did like this episode a lot. Again, loved Maul. I love as silly as it was, Joel, I agree. The fight with the Ben Quadraneros guys in the Trandoshan was a lot of fun.
Ben Quadraneros looking ass dudes.
Yeah. Discount Quadraneroses. That was a lot of fun. I'm really excited for the following arc. Levi, I see what you mean with like Ahsoka just goes, okay, I guess I'm going to Mandalore. However, I do like, and we see it over the course of this arc, that even though Ahsoka no longer considers herself a member of the Jedi Order, that she is consistently, like the Martez sisters say, she's acting as how the Jedi are supposed to act. Yeah. And that like Ahsoka has that moment where she goes, yeah, there's a good chance this puts me right back in the middle of the war.
Mm-hmm.
But people need saving.
That's what so the few other thoughts I had at the end were, I really loved when, I forget which sister it was, but when they were when one of them said like, oh, does this mean you're going to go back to the Jedi? And she says, yeah. And I'm like, that means she's going to go back to him in more ways than one. And I really appreciate that sort of triple meaning.
Well, it was that line specifically that she was like, I want to help, but I'm afraid. And she goes, afraid that it leads back to the Jedi. And she's like, yeah. And I like that idea that she's like, it's kind of akin to like Kylo Ren's relationship with the dark side, where like he just can't quit the dark side because he's become so dependent on it.
But he knows it's like,
and
a wreck on him.
Yeah, and I mean that there's an inherent difference there, but just that idea of like Ahsoka can't quit being a hero.
Yeah,
like she can't. Like there's a part of her psyche that just won't let her stop protecting people. Even though she knows it's going to lead to a very uncomfortable situation, and one that she almost certainly wants no part of, but recognizes there are lives on the line. I also like the idea that like the Mandalorians recognize, oh, hey, we could use a Jedi, but us being Jedi killing terrorists or former Jedi killing terrorists is kind of a bad look. So we can't exactly go to the council or anything because we're fugitives.
Yeah, that's what I also liked was how Bo-Katan like helped to get Ahsoka on her side. And especially with the whole like, oh, we're former Death Watch. We were Death Watch. It's destroyed. It's taken over now.
We were Mandalorian ISIS. We're not anymore, but we used to be.
Yeah.
Good guy now.
I think the one thing, the two last things I want to say is that I really loved how the episode title clearly reflects the Martez sisters like relationship at the end of this whole arc, and that like they're closer and they're together again because of Ahsoka being that sort of connective tissue,
a fulcrum, if you will.
Wow.
I love it.
I
I
don't
also
know.
loved the Crimson Dawn name drop,
Yeah.
especially after looking up where they were in this timeline, and I looked up and that they're they're a part of the Shadow Collective along with the Pikes and one other organization, and it's like the Shadow Collective is pretty much a shadow of its former self.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Levi?
Black Sun.
Okay, yeah, cool.
No, I also
So-
liked, and I was watching the Star Wars Explained episode breakdown while I was setting up, and I thought this too, and I laughed very hard because I'm glad I wasn't the only one who caught it. How like the episode maybe accidentally referenced a Christmas Story.
What?
Whenever they're like, do you think he knows? He knows. He
Oh,
always
that was
knows.
cool. I love that.
And I'm
Yeah, I
just
love
like,
that the Pikes were like, our lives depend on this as much as theirs do. And I'm like, oh boy.
I mean, yeah, but I was just laughing at the fact that like he knows, he always knows. It's like, is Darth Maul Santa Claus? He does he saber who's been naughty and who's been nice? Like, is it a reverse? Do you get the presents if you're naughty since he's a Sith? I'm also curious to see if because this is happening canonically after Son of Dathomir, if he has if he has officially relinquished the title of Darth yet.
Probably, if I had to guess correctly.
Because by the time of Rebels, you know, he outright says, "I'm not a Sith anymore." Like he's basically the dark side version of Ahsoka, where he is basically just taken on being a dark Jedi, a la Kylo Ren or Asajj Ventress. Where
No longer.
what'd you say,
That's
Levi?
all.
Oh yeah, no longer Darth. But like I'm really curious to see if that's like where he is in his headspace. And again, I think it's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, but like Maul's one of those characters whose head is always fun to get inside. Like I recently, for an upcoming project that we will not talk about quite yet, was getting into the weeds of the Darth Maul comic miniseries from a couple years ago, and just like that, his internal monologue is just so fascinating. And just every time I get Maul content, I love him more and more as a villain and as a character. Especially because, like Freddie Prinze Jr. said in that, you know, famous rant, you know, Darth Maul is Star Wars Sisyphus. Like he's just going to keep pushing that boulder up that hill, and it's just going to keep wiping him away. And I like seeing him in the process of pushing the boulder. And we know that it's going to get wiped away by the end of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a lot of fun. I think almost all of us are in agreement that this was our favorite episode of the arc.
Agreed. Like way up there.
Yeah, because like
For me, yes.
Like
yeah.
for me, it went from solid, amazingly solid.
Joel, is this your favorite episode of this whole arc so far? Or not so far, it's over, but
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
By far.
Consensus.
I don't think Rafa deserves the love she's getting from
Yeah,
the
I can
fandom right
see.
now. I don't
Yeah.
think she was redeemed. I think she's a controlling, manipulative big sister.
yeah, and that goes back to what. Oh, I'm sorry,
No.
Levi.
Yeah, I just don't like her. I don't think her whatever redemption or character development was done well. If they wanted her to be, you know, renewed as an actually good person. But that's just me.
Yeah,
And how separated are the lower levels of Coruscant from the happenings of the world? Because like Ahsoka is the Jedi that was about to be executed.
yeah. I
And
mean,
the fact that they don't know who she is means that they have no idea what's going on.
it may not be necessarily that they have no idea. I think a lot of that is to do with the fact that like they couldn't be bothered by it because of just like how on the run they are all the time, that, you know, they don't have time to like stop and like, ooh, what's going on in galactic politics right now? also because of how like big the galaxy is, like as far as they're concerned, like she's just another orange Togruta who's just kind of showing up on their doorstep.
Mhm.
That, like in the same way that like, you'd think that Anakin Skywalker is a figure in galactic history because of everything he did during the Clone War, but like somehow Luke is unaware that his father is probably in some form of textbook as the hero with no
He
fear.
lives on a desert farm.
You're right, yeah. I'm just saying, like like the same.
And the
basic
only
principle.
two people he
from-
lived with made an active effort to not talk about the past.
And he also lives on the planet that's farthest from like any sort of bustle and civilization.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
These sisters are on Coruscant. So I don't know.
Yeah, it is strange. I agree with
Not
that.
a big deal.
I think
Yeah.
it's still the same vein of level the lower levels of Coruscant are basically the Tatooine of Coruscant.
Tatooine of Coruscant.
Like literally, I
Coruscant's
think they are.
armpit.
Like you don't pretty much. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get many galactic news, if any, down there, because they're so just focused on their day to day. Like I need to scrape by to get these credits, and the fact that the Coruscant government's probably like, yeah, we don't really care about the lower levels. They can kind of screw off.
Yes.
So that's the way I see it.
Well,
Yeah, which is unfortunate, and part of the reason why there's that static between the Martezes and pretty much everybody of the lower levels with the Jedi, because they, it's almost like with like a lot of superhero narratives where you'll have those instances where the heroes are too busy fighting each other to like do that work that they signed up for. Like with Civil War, like you decided that it's your job to protect the people, and you've decided that this pissing match between you guys is more important than what you claim to be your job. Where I think the Jedi fall into a similar thing where it's like, okay, you've made it very clear that the concept of the Republic and the Senate is more important to you than the people who live in it. Again, like we could talk for hours about about Jedi philosophy and how absolutely abhorrent they are to what they claim to believe in. By the time of the Clone War,
for the most part, like generally speaking.
But yeah, I think that's all we really have this week. Like I said, it was going to be a shorter episode by comparison. No real news this week. And only the episode, and we're all in agreement on what our favorite episode of the arc was, so there's no real conversation on that.
I better see a lightsaber next episode.
Oh, I'm sure we're going to see Ahsoka with those new blue sabers pretty soon.
If I don't see an ignited lightsaber in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, I'm gonna.
I mean, we've
not be
seen it.
happy.
We've seen it in the Bad Batch arcs, or your thirst is filled.
No.
Levi.
No, it is not. I'm right there with Levi. I need a lightsaber stat.
I have had 4 straight episodes of like pretty much a slice of life. Also, there's some drug deal going on.
But yeah,
Great times.
with that, Connor, where can the lovely people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at DepaBanana. They can find me on Instagram at ConmanJFO. And they can find me on Facebook, admin in the Alliance of Star Wars Fanatics, which is a Star Wars Facebook group that all of you should join.
I agree with that completely. Tal Swift is amazing. Joel, where can the lovely people find you, my friend?
You can find me on Instagram at jbasenback photography and Bassin Bacon cosplay, where you can see me as Luke Skywalker,
Indeed,
amongst
you can.
other things.
my favorite Luke Skywalker cosplayer, if I may say so myself. And maybe I have a bias, but I don't give a shit.
Well, I'm honored.
And the illustrious 21-year-old professor. Where can the lovely people find you, sir?
Find me on Twitter at Levi_Baum. That's Baum. Should be pronounced Baum. Got Americanized.
Real quick, before I do my stuff and wrap up, I just want to say again, happy birthday to Levi. You among most of the people in our fledgling little network production team, I have known ever since I was a wee laddie, back in junior high. And
Oh yes.
And thanks to you, you have broadened my horizons to all sorts of content I would not have found and enjoyed without you being there. And you are a very funny and intelligent man, and I am honored to have you on board for this project and as a friend in general.
I am happy to be here.
Happy.
Yeah, you gotta get a little sappy. I love you, idiots. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. And like I said at the top, you can find the Nerd Academy on the Nerd Academy podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, as well on YouTube as well. You can check out our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where you can also find a link to our Patreon if you guys are feeling generous and you want to toss a couple credits in there to help us keep the lights on these parts of the galaxy.
We're struggling.
Yeah. With that, thank you all for listening. We are honored that you have joined us, and may the Force be with you always.
That's dismissed.